Hello, everyone. Welcome, 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 and happy day. Thank you for joining us for How Imposter Syndrome Causes Burnout, Combat, and Thrive. And so this is our second time coming, and we are so pleased to be here. I'm Erica Kessie, Thrive Strategist, your Goal Concierge, the CEO of your Goal Concierge. A love force with mysterious wisdom, celebrating life. Excited to be here to talk about how imposter syndrome causes burnout. And just to be very transparent, one of the main reasons that I am doing this and will continue to do this every Wednesday, 11:45, is I want to really talk through this whole imposter syndrome thing and just helping individuals to accept themselves and accept the beauty and brilliance of themselves, and so that they can make decisions about the next steps that they want to take in their life so they can have the life that they really want to have. And so who's joining me today, of course, is Abby. Abby will be with me every time. So happy to have her as my co-host. So Abby, please introduce yourself.
Yes, well, Erica, I am happy to be here. My name is Abby Williams. I am the CEO of Queendom Empire. I offer virtual COO services as well as online business management and outsource virtual assistants to help make your business run a little smoother to hopefully prevent business owner burnout, right? And be the support system that you need. I am also a Thrive strategist along with Erica. So, Erica, get us going. What are we talking about today for the imposter syndrome? Because this is an interesting topic too.
Yes. Okay. So we talked about the types of a person that will experience imposter syndrome last week, and those types. And I'm actually speaking from a article, a blog that I have on my website. So if you go to www.yourgoalconcierge.com/blog, you would see that. You would see that information. It's about imposter syndrome. Hold on for just a minute. I'm going to pull it up here. And we talk about the types types of people that experience imposter syndrome. And when you really think about these types, I think it's amazing to me that these absolutely phenomenal people are suffering, and when I say phenomenal, let me tell you, the types are the perfectionist, the superwoman, Superman, the natural genius, the rugged individualist, and the expert. These are the people who are suffering from imposter syndrome. And you would think that listening to those types, then they would feel, or they would be comfortable, but they're not. And they're not comfortable in being that type and serving in their capacity as the natural genius or the expert, because of society and because of culture and because they've been told that they should not brilliantly live and be all that they can be.
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe they make other people feel some type of way or something, like
they intimidate.
Yes. Go on, Say more.
Oh, I've been accused of it. I mean, ever since I was young, ever since I was a teenager, to be honest with you, and I'm going to give this example of the earliest memory I have of this. And it's not business related, okay? But I'm going to give this example because it has led into my business venture, right? Because I do notice it a lot Especially because I really try not to speak on things that I don't know about, and I'm going to tell you a story of my earliest memory of this when I was younger, and then I'm going to tell you another story of when I noticed it, and it made a complete circle in my business life. Okay, so when I was about 16, maybe, I had never experienced a club at this point. Okay, I was not one to go sneaking off in the club and stuff like that, but I wanted to because shoot, I was a teenager, right? I was curious. All right, just being honest, and I thought that guys genuinely just it was something about me that they just didn't like, right? And so I had well, I'm being honest, so I had a best friend who had a brother, and we were all sitting and talking one time, and he was real big into the World of Warcraft games, or whatever. But we would just be sitting at home, not be getting in trouble or anything like that, just be sitting at home. And he's like, Abby, guys don't come up to you that often because they're intimidated by you. And as a 16-year-old, I am like, how? And
Right.
what makes me so intimidating? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I mean, at that point, understand that I was already working. I already had a job. Okay. I had a Nana that owned a tax office. And so I was learning from her. And, I was growing up kind of fast. I had a knowledge of some things to a certain degree. Right. So when I was working for a local hospital, doing the medical billing and coding there prior to COVID, my manager actually talked to me, and she said, Abby, she said, when you walk into a room, at first, she said, not a lot of people are going to really pay attention to you right then because you look young, and, you have this aura about you. She said, but when you open your mouth to speak, she said, everybody's going to get quiet and listen to what you have to say, because that's the kind of attention that you demand, or something like that, in a professional way. And I was like, wow, that is really something to be, I would be honored that somebody says that about me, So it's intimidation, I think plays a lot in it. And when we use the titles like you would just use as superior, superwoman, Superman, just these human beings, though, human beings. And that's like, people don't expect the human being aspect from people of such intelligence, right? Mm-hmm. Or, such a power of some sort, and they expect us to be perfect. So when we're not, and our human being flaws show, society is very quick to say something, especially when you are successful, and when you are that type of persona, that type of strong person. A society will do and say anything and use anything against you to tear you down, to try to tear you down, to try to get in your head. Speak. And that's a defense mechanism on their end from being intimidated by you, because they're never going to admit that. So yeah, I thought it was interesting that you said that, because that was pointed out to me at a very young age, and it's intimidation. So.
And it's absolutely, I just think it's absolutely problematic that we would want to basically break people. That's what this is. Mm-hmm. Break people from being full of themselves. You're supposed to be full of yourself. You're supposed to be. I know. When you hear me say full of yourself, it makes you, it naturally, because we've been told not to be.
Right.
that it makes you say, oh, no, I shouldn't be full of myself, but why not? Who should you be full of?
Let me there's a hand in a harmony, if you will. You like using that word harmony, right?
Harmony, yes.
Okay, of being confident in yourself and your capabilities, and also being humble
Yes.
about it. Because
But
because
what I
I'm gonna be
find
honest with you.
is, what I find with most people who are this way, they are humble.
Oh yeah,
They're not trying to say, they don't walk around and say, I'm an expert, I'm a natural genius. They don't. They just really just living their life. They try to mind their
well,
business.
you have ones that do. You have ones that do, and they're not a whole lot.
They're not the ones suffering from imposter syndrome.
That is true. But I did want to just point that out, because there are people who are, very successful, and that have that type of, who are perfectionists, and who are a Superman and a Superwoman, and things like that. But they are a little conceited, if you will. And I feel like a little of that is healthy, but just know when to cut it off, right? Where you got to remember to be humble. The ones that are the best to work with have that harmony. The ones who are
I
gonna
think,
go who
yeah,
go further, they have that harmony.
yeah, I think the people who can both see their own brilliance, but also see the
Hmm.
brilliance in other people,
Yep, and
and
support it.
empower those other people.
Yes.
And yes, because I mean, I know for a fact, I have to say, I know that I hit the mark on a lot of these things as a
Hmm.
type. I know I'm a superwoman. I know I'm superior. I know I'm an expert. I know I'm a natural genius. And what I find is, I annoy people. They, yes. And I also find that people run from me, and I find that people do want to put my light out. I had a
Yes.
manager, you said a manager told you about how people would interact with you. She told me that I needed to be the moon and not the sun. Yes. I
Mm.
had I had a guy recently that, going back to the whole dating, that the reason why you never really have many men reach out, interact with you, because they can't find a flaw in you. They
Hmm.
can't. They know that there's, like, you are amazing, and so they don't even feel comfortable interacting with you, approaching you, because of their own insecurity. So it's everybody else's insecurity that is being, basically, imposter syndrome. It's everybody else's insecurity projected onto you.
And can we just take a moment to say that people who are like that's okay, right? That's okay for them to not, interact with you and things like that, because that's not for you. That's not for this type of personality and things like that, because if they can't hold the confidence that you hold, they're not going to benefit you in the ways that you need them to benefit you, right?
Correct.
Because I mean, it's that's I feel like that would be the breaking ground, so to speak, of where imposter syndrome would actually come in. Even if you're a type of person that you have a good grasp on imposter syndrome in your life, or in your business and things like that, you've already tackled this, you already have a good grasp on it. But every now and again, it pops up, right? It creeps up from somewhere. So people who don't have the capacity for you, that's okay.
Yeah, it is okay. It, but but it's hard too, because that means that you have, they that it's not like they don't want, or we don't want people. right? We want
Mm-hmm.
people.
Right.
So then you feel what? And nobody talks about this piece. You feel loneliness.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm being naturally me. I want to be me. I want to be authentic. Everybody says be authentic, but then my authentic self people don't like because it intimidates them, and then I can't have people, and that's all I really want is people. Like, do you see how hard this is? Like, this is tough.
It can be. I was in a position probably about 5 or 6 years ago where I was just going through excuse me, a season of loneliness, I guess you could say. Um, but I embraced it. And that because there is a time to have a good support system around you, because that is very important. It is very important, and I'm so thankful for the support system that I have now. But it took that time of walking in what a lot of people would call loneliness, and I had to just embrace it. And during that time, instead of allowing myself to be overwhelmed with the loneliness, I got to know myself. And that's where a lot of my confidence came from as well, because I started really getting grounded and rooted in who I am. Every all of like my strengths and my flaws. You know, so again, I mean, like loneliness is not always. It's not always the best, and
Well,
there are
people
still.
people don't want to be lonely, honey. Listen.
I know, I understand that, but I'm just saying sometimes,
Ooh.
during those times, if you feel like, because if you feel like you're building relationships just because you're lonely, that's a problem. So you have to be careful with that, right?
Oh yeah.
Because you can't build relation. You don't want to. You absolutely can do whatever you want to do, right? But you don't want to build relationships with the wrong people out of loneliness. You know.
Oh yes. Definitely. Definitely. But that is actually one of the biggest issues that people have is this is like really a prevalent concern that a lot of people have is loneliness. And so basically I'm going to feel insecure about myself and really watch myself and allow myself to suffer from imposter syndrome, because if I excel anymore, I'm going to lose more people.
So how would you say we should tackle that?
Ooh, honey. Let me tell you, speaking from a person who has had plenty of situations where I feared loneliness. Okay, I feared
Mhm.
being alone, not loneliness, being alone. And then I had conflict happen, like a severe conflict happen, and every fear that you have, it will come true. So it's best to go ahead and go just lean into your fears, because they will show up. The reason why they will show up is because when you have anxiety towards something, it's like you're meditating on it and you will call it forth. Even though you don't want it, you will call forth what you don't want. So,
Mhm.
um, how do you combat it? Well, I would say very first thing is self acceptance. Like, accept that you are an expert, a natural genius, a perfectionist, superwoman, superman. Accept that about yourself. Accept and love and like yourself for who you are and what you are about and your capabilities, Really, 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 really allow yourself to love yourself for who you are without anybody else's thoughts about you. Once
Right.
you truly love and like yourself, you will be a beacon to all the other people who are supposed to be around you. If anyone stifles you or doesn't want you to be your full self, your authentic self, and enjoy you, not that they celebrate you, not endure you, not feel like they don't feel insecure, they just embrace you. But the reason why people are not embracing you is because you don't embrace you.
Mm-hmm.
That would be what I say here. When
Yeah.
you Yeah, because if you allow yourself to continue to care what other people are thinking, it's allowing you to stay in situations with people and environments that are not the right fit for you. They are not where you should be. You should not be a superwoman in a situation where people are trying to beat you down and take your cape. You should not be a natural genius and individuals won't allow you to solve problems. You see what I'm saying? Like, get yourself in the right environments for you to thrive. When you are in those environments, it is easy. Your life flows. You will not feel burnout in those environments because you will be celebrated.
Hmm. That is such a great point though, because and it's kind of it's why it's important, like you were just saying, in those times, because like I said, you want to watch out for the relationships that you build right out of loneliness. So when you do, embrace it and you accept who you are, that you are a perfectionist, that you are a superwoman, superman, and you accept that you are superior in a lot of ways, to a certain degree, then you start, instead of just giving people access to you, you start allowing access to
Ooh,
you.
speak. You said a word.
Yeah, because that's a whole mindset shift in
Yes,
itself
it
too,
is.
and it is one that I had to go through as well. I really had to learn. Not everybody, and I cannot allow everybody to have access to me. There's certain things that I'm still learning to this day, more so with family and stuff like that. But I mean, you can't allow everybody to have access to you. You don't know what the intentions are, and sometimes, I'll take it one step further. Sometimes they may have the best intentions of the world and not know themselves well enough to know what they're doing to affect you.
Come on. You just said something there too.
you
Yeah.
have to you have to be careful, and that's why it's important to accept who you are and know who you are and be confident in that, you know to set the right boundaries for yourself. I can't tell you what those are, but um a person who knows themselves well enough, you'll be able to recognize the boundaries. Oh, I don't know, I don't like how this person makes me feel, or I don't like what this person has to say, or every time I have an achievement, these people don't like, they don't celebrate with me. Honey, that's something to pay attention to.
Yep.
So I mean, it is really important. I'm not saying people just have to be alone and things like that, because that is not the case. That is definitely not the case.
No, it's not.
Sometimes.
So it may be a time it may be a time that you actually need to be alone in order to really get a good grasp on yourself.
Right.
How can you call the right people into your world, into your life, if you're not clear on who you are and accepting of yourself? How
Yes.
can you allow people to accept you for being your wonderful, amazing, brilliant self if you don't accept it yourself?
Yes. That's
I
exactly right.
actually don't. I don't suffer from imposter syndrome. Most of the people that I interact with are attracted to me because I don't. And I say things like, I'm brilliant. I'm superior. And I'm unapologetic about it. People love that
Right.
about me because basically they want to be able to do that too. They want to be able to say that too. They want to be
Right.
able to do that. And I want to be able to empower them to do so. I hear all the time, you're an inspiration. Yes, I am. I am an inspiration. And I inspire action in people. Yes. I know that about
Um,
myself. I know that I'm very confident. I know I'm very decisive. I know I'm the leader's healer. I know that I do no harm. I know that I am worthy of love and respect. I know that I am absolutely a winner. And guess what? I expect that of other people.
right. Absolutely right. I feel
I
like
mean,
I
it
was
is
gonna
nice to be around people who expect that of you instead of expect you to be minimized.
yeah. I don't suffer from it as much as I used to, because I used to question myself, a lot, especially,
Mhm.
when I was just getting into, as I'm sure a lot of new business owners are, am I really supposed to be doing this? But now when it comes up, it's just like, yeah, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And I know
Well,
I
I'm
am.
so happy
So,
you brought that up. I'm happy you brought up that you question yourself. Let's just go over really quick some of the common areas that show up. There's self-sabotage that comes up. There's negative
mhm.
beliefs. There's avoidance. There is procrastination. There is quitting. There is self-destructive behavior. There is emotional blocks. There's a lack of motivation. There is discomfort. There is very much all these things that's showing up, okay, in
Mhm.
individuals who are suffering from imposter syndrome. And a lot of these have something to do with somebody else thinking something about you and you then deciding, oh, let me avoid. Oh, it's not perfect, so I'm not going to do it. Oh, I'm not going to go ahead. I'm going to procrastinate and delay it because I want to make sure that it is, you know, exactly what I really want it to do. Um, I'm going to do self-destructive behavior to soothe myself because I feel a fear of success.
Mhm.
I have
Yeah.
emotional blocks. I lack motivation, can't get myself fired up because I just don't know. That's that imposter syndrome that shows up. Those are the signs that you are experiencing it. And it has everything to
Yeah.
do with you not accepting that you got this. You got this. You're amazing. You
Yeah.
are you are exactly what every you are exactly what people are looking and wanting for themselves and the world. You are here to ignite and excite people for exactly what you're meant to do, and it's important that you do that.
Mhm. So I kind of want to bring it around to where you were just real quick, where you had talked about being quote unquote full of yourself, because I know a lot of people could probably take that the wrong way. But that reminds me of, a lot of people that I have listened to that have tried to speak on imposter syndrome. They want to revert to remember your why. You know what I'm saying? Remember why you got started in the first place. Remember, what got you excited about it at first and things like that. But I think, what has helped me more is
I
the
don't like
confidence that
that.
I have. I don't, well, that's what I'm saying. So what has helped me more is the confidence that I have in myself and knowing exactly who I am and stuff.
Yes.
Because look, I could tell you my why is my kids and my family. I mean, come on. I mean, that's easy, right? Because if you're any type of parent, or, if maybe you're just a wife and don't have kids yet, but you want to set something up. I mean, yeah, your family's gonna be your why, right? Because who doesn't want to just sit back and have money coming in and be able to spend time with their family without putting the work in, right? So that's the majority of people's why. But it's not until I actually have the confidence in myself to be able to keep going and tell myself, hey, listen, you may not feel like it right now, but this is who you are. I mean, what is the opposite of this? The opposite of for me personally is, I'm a medical coder by trade, honey. I know I'm supposed to be doing something more than this. I know I'm supposed to be doing something more than just working for somebody, so why not put that same energy that people talk about going to get a second job or something, put it in my own business and then outgrowing that. But I have to have the confidence in that. It's got to be more than just your why. And I don't think people really speak on that enough either.
Oh my goodness, Abby, that's so important. I'm so happy you brought that up because if you think about it, that cannot be the way to combat imposter syndrome. Wanna know why? Because imposter syndrome happens due to you believing and thinking how someone else is interpreting you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are saying your why is a person, what if your children or your husband or whoever this person is doesn't want you to be your full self? I just want you to be my mama that feed me. I don't want you to be a renowned speaker. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's take it a step further, right? So not that they're saying that in a way that is being mean or just not supportive or anything, but
Yes.
they can't even fathom what you're doing.
Yes. Yes.
They can't understand what you're doing, and you can't expect your child to have that type of
Come on.
understanding because look how long it took you to get here. Number one, that's the point in you being a leader. So, and as far as the spouse goes and stuff like that, listen, baby, listen, sometimes you're just going to have to pray for them and keep them moving, baby. And I mean, you do what you're called to do. I mean, that's just what it is.
Abby, you said it. Listen.
Try me, baby. I've done it. Been there, done that. Had those conversations.
Girl,
okay?
You said it. It can't be nobody else. It has to be you sitting with yourself yet again, being with yourself and embracing the fullness of who you are. That's what it is.
Yep.
Like love on yourself and like yourself so much that no one can deter you from being the fullness of you.
Right.
You have to
Absolutely
be determined about. Now, let me just say, perfectionist, soloist, Superman, expert, natural genius. They are so determined about people. They're so determined about working and doing, right? You need to be determined about you, about how amazing you are. Don't let nobody change your mind about, don't get me started today. Don't let nobody change your mind about how amazing you are. Period.
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, I mean, like you can't expect. Okay,
Come
when
on.
you're learning, especially when you're learning your business and stuff like that, and you're setting it up, right? You're putting all of the SOPs in place. You're putting all of the blueprints in place and stuff like that. Got a question. How are you going to expect your kids or your spouse to be able to run it, right? You got to keep going because you're the only one that has the understanding for that and can fathom what it's going to take to do that. Because if you hand that off to somebody else, I guarantee you they're going to fumble. There's a little football analogy for you.
Come on, fumble.
I mean,
And they gonna fumble. They gonna fumble because it ain't meant for them to do it. It's meant for
exactly. You were
you.
called. Yeah, you were called. You were
You
called to
were
do it.
called. Come on. You were. Ooh, Abby, don't get me. Lord, Abby, you do it to me.
I mean, that's just like I've had to fight this stuff in my own mind. You know what I'm saying? I've already come across these thoughts and stuff in my own mind, so they're not so foreign. I mean, I love my kids, and I would love to be able to have. We talked about having my kids involved and things like that, but right now, they think a lot of what I do is cool, and they're starting to respect it more. But I had to teach them. I had to keep going those days when I didn't feel like keeping on and stuff like that. They were giving me the pep talk. That guess what? They was in there playing on their games or doing something else, watching TV because they didn't care because it don't affect them, right? Not yet. They don't see it. They don't understand it. They don't understand the power of that type of thought process or that type of thinking and stuff like that. And then how are you going to be able to help them? How are you going to be able to lead them if you can't combat some of these thoughts on your own? This is when it comes to your business.
Now,
this is you
real.
like
listen.
Yeah.
Woo, that's real. That's real. A lot of folks be talking about this. Their kids is they why. Okay, you're gonna have to model.
Yep.
Model.
Yep.
How they're going to be able to stand firm in who they are and what they're meant to do, no matter what society, culture, anyone ever says.
Yep. Because
But
your
if they
why
never
is not
saw
going to be able
you,
to.
if they never saw you do that, then how are they going to do it?
Right. Now, if you keep your kids as your why and that's your main focus, and you don't take that time, right, in in the space where you're feeling a little lonely, and you don't embrace that, and you don't really get to gain that confidence in yourself, your why is not going to keep you pushing forward. I'm sorry. In theory, I mean, it sounds nice and things like that, and yeah, we should still make
Listen,
sure we
do
understand.
a whole talk on this. Listen, don't, girl.
I mean, you have to keep yourself, going, because your why, it sounds good, and it's good to have a why. I'm not taking away from that whatsoever. I mean, like, you're not being, I mean, that's you not being selfish with it. But at the same time, when you get in when you're having to combat imposter syndrome and things like that, your why isn't going to be very helpful, because guess what? You're going to feel like, well, here's one of the signs, quitting, right? Well, I can always go back to a job.
Yeah.
I can always get a job. I can always take my experience and get a better paying job, and do this and do that and do the same thing, for my family and things like that. So, I mean, you really got to get in the nitty gritty with that. Your why is not going to always keep you going. And I mean, like I said, it's good to have a why, and it's good to keep, your family as a focus and stuff, but you're going to have to gain that confidence. Because your why your why is not gonna help you fight the imposter syndrome. It just, mm-mm.
Ooh. We said it. and for anybody that is listening in, #replay, let us know what you think about that. First of all, let us know about that. What you think about us saying that your why is not enough? What do you think about that? You all, we're going to come back next week, next Wednesday at 11:45 until 12:15. We done went a little beyond the time today, but it got good to us. So, but we appreciate you all. For those who are gonna hear this later, for people who stopped by for a moment, thank you so much, Abby, again for doing this. How imposter syndrome causes burnout, combat, and thrive. And we will keep having this conversation because it's so much to share. It's so much, and we want to hear your success stories as you take steps to embrace yourself. Embrace yourself so people can. So then you will be embraced by others. So Abby, you have a great rest of your day. Is there anything else that you want to say?
Nope, I've enjoyed the conversation as always. I'll see you next week. And
All right.
everybody, anything, any thoughts that you have, please join the conversation. Please type them in the comments and stuff. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear what you have to say. We want you to be a part of the discussion. So we look forward to seeing everybody next week at 11:45 for Imposter Syndrome.
Yes. Okay. Bye, everybody.